conference with legal counsel pending litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D1. Bautista v. LAUSD, Milton v. LAUSD, Jane Doe v. LAUSD, and KE v. LAUSD. All of these cases are available on our website if you wanted to look them up on the LA Superior Court website. The case numbers are listed there. I just don't read them out here because it takes a lot of time. But they're in the order of business and easily accessible online. There will be one case heard under anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. Under Tab 4, conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The negotiator is Dr. Murphy, and the employee organizations are Associated Administrators of Los Angeles, Teamsters 2010, California School Employees Association, Los Angeles County Building and Construction Trades Council, Los Angeles School Police Association, Los Angeles School Police Management Association, Service Employees International Union, SEIU Local 99, Teamsters, United Teachers Los Angeles, and District Represented Employees and Contract Management Personnel. For unrepresented employees, negotiators Ms. Navarra Reed for the district, and General Superintendent of Schools will be under there. Okay, now we take public comment. The comments are arranged such that when you sign up for an item-specific comment, you restrain your comments to that particular item, and then there's general public comment which follows it, which can be directed at any business that the district has anything to do with. So anything related to district business. All right, under tab 1, student discipline matters, we have Gana K. I can't pronounce the last name. Is Gana K here? We're also signed up yesterday. All right, let's go to tab 3. We have one person signed up. That's Mr. David Tokovsky.
Evaluation as well as litigation as well as collective bargaining. I'd like to say that as you go into closed on the settlement with respect to the COVID problems of learning, that you make sure that the tutoring records come out in public. We don't know how each of these tutoring companies are doing and what the effect pre and post are for their improvement. Number 2, when you do evaluation, it's good, but I don't see the IAU being evaluated. That's one of your direct reports. And it's interesting that you don't evaluate directly your legal counsel. Legal counsel has a very difficult role to represent the institution, but also works for the superintendent and works for the board. And the board essentially has the general counsel as your employee. So that would be interesting, whereas you also have 2 other lawyers that work for you, Mr. McLean and the Inspector General are lawyers. So I would make sure that you explicitly, as you do the evaluation, include the IAU, include the general counsel, and make sure as you finalize the contract with the superintendent that you have your own direct, independent legal advice to make sure all the ingredients are done well. Finally, on the budget and the collective bargaining, the offer out there is 2%. Again, it would be wise to say, okay, what do we have to change? What revenue do we need, or what cuts do we make to make sure every year we have like a 3 or 4% pay raise opportunity? The state only gave a 2% COLA, but we didn't fight in any way with our labor partners to get a larger COLA whatsoever. There's no evidence of that. And finally, for the record and for the state, I want to make sure that there was an error of gross proportions yesterday on items 2 and 30. I was prevented from speaking on item 2, even though the vote had not finished. The item 30 was about Williams, which is the parents and public's right to do textbooks, teachers, and facilities shortcomings. Item 2 is simply textbook. It is not, item 2 is not Williams. Item 2 is just textbook. And any school that does not have all of its textbooks and all its core subjects should be able to file a complaint immediately. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. All right, now we go on to general public comment. We have 17 speakers signed up. As is usual, I'll call on the folks who listed themselves being in person, and then we'll call on the folks who listed themselves as speaking remotely. And the first person is Lila Byak. Are you here? And then after Lila is Bridie Lee. If I've mispronounced anyone's name, feel free to let me know. Thank you, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak.
Hi, I'm Leila Bayok, founder of Schools Beyond Screens, and I want to clear up a misconception. We are not trying to take away everyone's computers. As a matter of fact, one of the most common complaints we hear from the parents and teachers in our group is that kids are graduating high school without even the most basic computer skills, despite being parked on screens all day during class. Board Member Griego, I know you've raised this concern as well. The district seems to believe that kids can pick up computer literacy by osmosis, because Gen Alpha are digital natives. But just because they know how to scroll TikTok or evade the network blocks designed to keep them from accessing porn on school-issued devices, that doesn't mean they're developing the skills they need to succeed in college or the workplace. To paraphrase the neuroscientist and educator Jared Cooney Horvath, we shouldn't confuse what we're teaching with how we're teaching it. Most people think kids should learn table manners, but that doesn't mean we should hold algebra class in a restaurant. My own boys attend two very different LAUSD schools. At 3rd Street Elementary, with its affluent and engaged parent community, where I serve on the board of Friends of Third, the students receive high-quality computer classes from a well-respected vendor in a dedicated tech lab. The school's Chromebooks are otherwise kept on carts and used judiciously. Meanwhile, at nearby John Burroughs Middle, the Title I school with a majority minority population, which my older child attends, the students receive zero formal computer training beyond whatever their overburdened teachers manage to squeeze into their existing curriculum. Yet the students are on iPads all day, often just to play Fortnite. This is the very definition of an equity issue. Kids from fortunate backgrounds learn to use digital tools, while less advantaged kids are used by them. Their focus destroyed by the infinite distraction of the internet, their data harvested and sold by greedy tech companies. And for what? So the district can save face by not admitting that the status quo isn't working, that maybe this grand social experiment we've been running on our kids' brains is a failure?
Thank you for your time. We appreciate your time. Okay, Bridie Lee, come on up. And after Ms. Lee is Aaron Craig, and then Laura Gershenhorn. You have 2 minutes to speak. Thank you.
On August 5th, I proposed that LAUSD students shouldn't have access to violent, sexually suggestive, inappropriate, and non-educational YouTube content during class time. I asked why parents are being told to consent to a big tech company exposing children to distracting and harmful content when they're supposed to be learning. On August 26th, I proposed that instead of holding children responsible for avoiding the numerous threats on school-issued devices, the adults in charge of creating and distributing this technology should take responsibility for providing child-safe educational computers and software. On September 9th, I proposed, in the wake of plummeting math and reading scores nationwide, that LAUSD research any tech curricula independent of corporate interests who don't believe in public schools or even human teachers before implementing unproven technology and tech-enabled teaching methods in classrooms. I'm left asking, do you agree? Do you agree that LAUSD should prioritize the education, mental health, and safety of its students over the unethical business practices of big tech companies? Do you agree that LAUSD should only implement evidence-based curriculum? Do you agree that LAUSD should not expect minors to take on all the responsibility when tech companies fail to provide products that are safe, effective, and legal? Do you agree that LAUSD students shouldn't have any access to any harmful non-educational material during class and on their school-issued devices? Do you agree that positive student outcomes matter more than maintaining the status quo? Last week, when the LAUSD CIO was asked about blocking YouTube, he said, "That's the easiest part." I have to agree. Today, I propose that we have the power to make meaningful change, stand up for the interests of kids over corporations, and rise with the cultural tide of parents and educators who know students deserve so much better than this. I hope you agree. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Aaron Craig, and then Laura Gershenhorn. Come on up, Mr. Craig. You'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Morning. Blackbaud 2020, Illuminate Education 2022, Vice Society Ransomware Attack 2022, and Kokomo Solutions in 2025. His name should be familiar to most of you. 4 major security breaches in the past 5 years, breaches that exposed the private data of millions of children to the dark web. Social security numbers, names and addresses, and more, the kind of data that exposes people to identity theft and credit card fraud. And the people in this case are young children, as young as kindergarten age. These kids will have to be vigilant against having their digital identities stolen for the rest of their lives. Now, I'm not pointing fingers. Cybersecurity is really hard. And data protection, it's really, really, really hard to get right. I know I've been in the tech industry for over 20 years. And it's clear to me that the people entrusted with our children's private data either lack the know-how, or worse, the desire to protect it. My name is Aaron Craig, and I'm with Schools Beyond Screens, and we've had a lot to say in the past couple of months about the dangers of tech in classrooms. I've been before this board before pleading for information on how my kids' data is gathered, stored, and used precisely because I don't trust the district to keep it safe. And these breaches tell me that I'm right to be concerned. Now, I've heard the word equity used a lot in these discussions. The term gets thrown around on the regular as if to say that if we give kids tech, that somehow automatically that makes things equitable. But underprivileged kids suffer more than anyone when criminals have access to their private data. I'm in the fortunate position I can pay for data monitoring and credit freezes and the whole rest of it for my 7-year-old daughter, as ridiculous as it sounds that I would have to do that for the rest of her life. But can a single parent, perhaps working 2 jobs, just to keep a roof over her family's heads, do the same? The risks here are real and the harms can last a lifetime. And I'm heartened by the recent connection we've made with members of the board and the administration, and I look forward to working together to keep our kids safe. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Laura Gershenhorn, come on up. And then after Ms. G is Todd Grabarski. You have 2 minutes to speak once you begin.
Good morning. My name is Laura Gershenhorn, and I'm the parent of a first grader at an LAUSD magnet that's also a Title I school. I am also a former middle school teacher. I believe it is developmentally inappropriate and harmful for elementary age students to have their own school-issued devices. Every second a child spends using a device at school is a moment that they are not learning how to talk to each other, how to listen to each other, or how to observe their own thoughts. I am here to share some anecdotal experience of my son being issued a one-to-one school iPad as a kindergartner. My 5-year-old, who had no prior behavioral issues, started getting in trouble at school when using his iPad. Instead of staying on the assigned app, he would explore, searching terms in the search box and finding results on the internet. When I talked to him about it, my 5-year-old son said, "I don't know why, Mom. I can follow my teacher's directions on paper, just not on the screen." Kindergartners are only just learning how to comport themselves in a classroom setting and emotionally regulate without the added challenge of screens. We are setting our children up for failure. Moreover, this device is damaging my relationship with my son in a real way. My son and I get into arguments, both of us crying, when I say he can't use his iPad at home, as is our family's policy. I have no problem setting meaningful boundaries for my children, but to have to set these boundaries because the institution that we so want to trust is imposing corporate-sponsored, gamified technology onto our children and sending it into our homes is wrong. It is not only unnecessary, but an insidious overreach. I do not place blame on my child's teacher or the school, but I do blame a school district that pushes these devices into the hands of 5-year-olds, mandating their use without clear guardrails or oversight. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Todd Grabarski, Todd G, come on up. And then after Todd is Carol Landaverde. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Todd Grabarski, and I'm a parent of a first grader at Rockdale Elementary in Northeast Los Angeles. Although my wife and I were fearful about the screen usage in his classroom, we had hoped that LAUSD would set reasonable limits and guidelines for school-issued devices, as well as provide parents with clear and transparent information about in-class tech use. Unfortunately, we were wrong. Much to our shock, the settings on my son's school-issued iPad were blocked by the LAUSD administrator, preventing my wife and I from reviewing his screen time usage. And this lack of transparency extends even more broadly. The district has not provided independent studies demonstrating the efficacy of screen-based learning over traditional methods. Indeed, the EdTech apps promote the gamification of learning, which hits students with in-app dopamine-based rewards, such as tokens or animations after they perform microtasks on the app. This flies in the face of everything we as a society know about the way children learn by fostering their intrinsic motivation rather than promising external rewards. Furthermore, there is a startling lack of restrictions on tech use in class, such as time limits, something as simple as that, or rules about whether children may be able to watch video advertisements for products made by for-profit companies. In addition, the district seems to be unaware or willfully blind to the fact that students are easily able to circumvent the minimal security protections to spend hours of the school day playing Minecraft or Roblox or watching YouTube or Vimeo videos or just surfing the open internet on their school-issued devices. Schools and parents are also confused about what tech usage or apps, for example, iReady, are actually mandated or required by the school district. And finally, the district has not provided information about whether and how parents may opt out of in-class tech usage and how their children will be accommodated so that they can give their informed consent about tech use in their children's classrooms. If I'm wrong about any of these points, I humbly welcome the district to provide information correcting me and demonstrating the reasonable limits and protections of these powerful tech tools.
Thank you for your time. I apologize. Carol's not next. John Wooden is next. John W. Then after Mr. Wooden is Carol Landaverde and Monica Razola and Diana Guillen.
Hello, I'm John Allen Wooden, and I'm with Schools Beyond Screens. I've come to respond to alarming remarks made by Superintendent Carvalho at last week's board meeting. Defending EdTech screens in classrooms, the superintendent boasted, "We are able to track very accurately our students' usage." He then invoked data revealing a daily average of 7 to 8 hours of at-home screen time on district-issued devices. He expressed zero remorse for disrupting families' lives with these addictive devices or the district's egregious violation of children's privacy by tracking them in their own homes. Carvalho went on to equate web-connected devices with airplane seat-back televisions, opining, "What's really the difference between that TV screen and a computer?" That is the most laughably tech-ignorant remark since U.S. Senator Ted Stevens called the internet a series of tubes. The superintendent blithely dismissed overwhelming scientific evidence that screen time is harmful to all children as a position of newly informed privilege. Worse, he played the intellectually dishonest equity card, declaring of EdTech screens, "Let's make sure that some of the kids that never had it at least have access to it." That's like saying a child who just started working in a coal mine can't enjoy equity until they've succumbed to black lung. Indeed, the superintendent has outed himself as so computer illiterate, he is not competent to distinguish between useful electronic tools and harmful educational snake oil. Carvalho must recuse himself from any decisions on EdTech. Screen-based learning is a cancer on our children's intellects, and districts worldwide are wisely reversing course on this failed, disastrous experiment. LAUSD must follow suit. In closing, know that Schools Beyond Screen is growing by the day, and we have not yet begun to fight on this matter.
Thank you for your time. All right, Carol Landaverde, come on up, and then, Ms. Landaverde is going to speak in Spanish, so if you'd like to hear what she's saying in English as she's speaking in Spanish, please put on these translation headsets. Okay, listos, gracias.
Buenos días a todos.
Good
Gracias.
morning to all. Thank you for allowing me, first and foremost to God, for allowing me to be here. Thank you for watching over our children. Thank you, Superintendent. I am here for the same thing. They gave me a card, Miss Carla Griego, and they waited for me outside. My son hasn't gone to school. I feel a little desperate because I'm a mother that always sends her child to school, and he never missed, and he was never there late except when he had that incident, and when he had that incident at school, I can't hear. And the only thing that was lacking, I haven't seen the solution. I was just texting you. I was going to text you. And they tell me when he's not there, but they don't tell me the resolution of the case. I'm trying to move forward and contact higher and higher people. If I need to knock at Donald Trump's door, I will do so. Again, I'm desperate. Because my son has been at the district since kinder, and he has a potential, even though he has a capacity. I'm teaching him at home, but I just want to tell you to look at Thomas Albaya Edison. Look at his case. He was special needs students. They didn't allow the mom to go in, and honestly, my son doesn't have those mental problems, but they are damaging me. I was with the health plan for my son at the hospital, and the doctor said that this case needs to be resolved at the district. She only makes the school orders. She said, we can't give in because the district is the one who has the authority. Mr. Superintendent, with all respect, I ask for your help, Ms. Carla Griego, and everyone who can help me, please. At this moment, I'm upset. I'll be honest with you. I'm angry, but I've never yelled at the principal. I've only felt frustrated because I'm a single mom,
Thank you very much for your time.
and I've also studied at universities, and I feel frustrated. Please
Thank you for
help
your
me.
time.
I would appreciate it.
Monica Arrazola, come on up. Ms. Arrazola is going to speak in Spanish, so if you'd like to hear what she's saying in English, please put your hands up and we'll get you a translation headset. Okay, listos, gracias.
Buenos días.
Good morning. My name is Monica Razola, mother of 2 students of the district. And I am here to ask Ms. Carla Griego, even my school is the one that pertains to you. My school is Hollywood High School. What I'm worried about the school is that children get there at 7:50 in the morning, or 15, I apologize. No one is monitoring them. And Safe Passages employees are there at 7:45. They're not monitoring children. And I've taken pictures. Because that's my area. And they're using their phone. They're just busy. They're talking. Someone's on the mirror, looking at herself in the mirror, and they're not paying attention. The personnel that's at the parking, we've seen a lot of drugs being sold. He's also sitting at the table with his phone. There are funds. These funds are being wasted, and these are funds that are not being used in something productive. And I also want to ask you all, I want to do a survey of parents that want their kids to be there at 7:30 in the morning, because 8:30 it's too late, and I believe we're making our children lazy. Besides technology, they're 100%. Children are not focused academically. They're using the computer more, and they're not allowing them to think. And I believe that they need to go back to paper and pencil. We need them to use that. They need to use their brain that way, because the computer is giving them their words, and it's not forcing them to write something. It is something important, and this is a worry I have towards the school. Therefore, my school, Hollywood, since 7 o'clock, they're monitoring kids. They're entering sports. They start band. And these kids are active since 7 in the morning. That's why I would like you to do a survey of the parents that would like the students to be there at 7:30. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Diana Guillen. Ms. Guillen is going to speak in Spanish, so if you'd like to hear what she's saying in English, please keep those headsets on or request one if you need one.
Buenos días.
Good morning. My name is Diana Guillen, and in this occasion, I would like the board to consider what these parents are asking in regards to technology. It's a very worrisome situation. I'm not saying not to use them, but it is very important for you to consider this and for us to have a conversation, an adult conversation. We are people that want our children to progress. And one of the things I want to talk about is the case about Ms. Landaverde, because I've been going with her. We have been talking to the principal. I went to the IEP, and honestly, what Ms. Jetta Turner, she's the one who gave her the response. She didn't tell her what type of, or what part of the district, or what part of the policy from the district is asking that she can't go into the school when they're putting the insulin to her child or when they're administering it. And they're telling a parent, they're telling her that she needs to supervise that she wants to supervise the nurse, but that's not it. She's just making sure that the treatment is added to her child adequately. They've called her from the school because the child's sugar is 300, 400, 500, and you know very well what that means. Mr. Temo Arroyo, the last time that we came here, she spoke, and there was supposed to be a follow-up. We know nothing about him. We called him on the phone. He doesn't answer. Therefore, what is the work that we're doing? We want a person that is really giving a follow-up to this case, because you always say, well, let's put children first. Well, this child is here. Let's resolve this so he can go back to school, and for her to feel comfortable knowing that her child is being treated with respect and dignity, and something that has to do with his medical problem. What person prevents a parent from coming in? And I would be upset as well. Of course I would be upset if they wouldn't allow me to enter to see how they're administering the child's treatment. This principal has said that his rights of privacy have been violated because there have been other children when he's getting the treatment. That's something he declared in the IEP, but they didn't write it down. Therefore, Ms. Carmen Avendaño didn't want to add those notes in the IEP. Therefore, I
for your
please
time.
ask for this to be resolved in a better way. Thank you.
The rest of the folks listed as giving public comment are remote, and I'll begin calling them on now. Miss Anya. Oh, you're listed as calling in. My apologies. And there you are. Let me make a note here to correct that to in person. All right, please go ahead, Ms. Ortiz.
Okay. Buenos días a todos.
Good morning to all. My name is Maria Daisy Ortiz, and honestly, I want to say that the negotiation, closed-door negotiation, is an embarrassment. Because if you will be evaluating the superintendent, I believe those are paid by public funds. And we as parents and the community and everyone who pays their taxes has the right to know what the categories are, the categories that you're evaluating the superintendent on. I asked the superintendent to make an executive action and look at the worry that the parents are giving, because your funds are divided in 4 parts. 25% is to see if the parents committee is working and the parent involvement. The other 25%, of course, parents, administrative personnel, right? And the other 25%, well, with the Board of Education, and the other 25% with organizations. I know that sometimes it's difficult to do, but when there is transparency, there is excellence. Now, in regards to the intervention, what are the categories that you're evaluating the superintendent on? I want to thank you that this year you will implement the early identification, and also the trainings that you are giving the teachers. In the RDS or the 95 practice, you have 180 so interventionists. And honestly, there are details that need to be refined, because how do we read the RDS? The way we read it, it is very important for us parents to know, and this hasn't been accomplished. Even though you say you do webinars, but it hasn't reached the parents. There needs to be a comprehension to be able to help children. Remember that children has 2 teachers, one at home and one in classroom. They both need to be trained. Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you for your time. Okay, Anya Mexen, I see you're online. Anya Mexen, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Anya. You're with us. Anya, please press *6 to unmute yourself. Okay, we're going to move on to the next caller. Turn to Ms. Mexen in a moment. Matt Rethley, I see you're on the line. Matt Rethley, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Matt Rethley.
Sorry, can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Matt Rathley from Broadway Elementary School. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. This morning, I'm going to speak a little bit about a question I was asked the other day, which is, why do these Broadway parents keep showing up and what's our end game? Well, that really comes down to the Mandarin Immersion program being treated equitably. We want to be on the same playing field as the other immersion programs, specifically the Spanish immersion program within this district. What does that mean? That means making sure that we have the same types of resources. It means having a curriculum, having testing, having a home. Our school is, at least the Mandarin program, is the largest single immersion program within the entire district. It's highly successful. It's one that really is a beacon to this district. And this district is not putting the adequate amount of resources into making sure that the success continues. We have curriculum that is very, very old, more than 15 years. We don't have standardized testing. We share our home with another immersion program, which sounds great, but the needs of the programs are very, very different. I want the district to talk seriously with the programs and figure out what the future looks like and whether or not this really all makes sense to keep all these programs together. The district also does a lot with trying to create immersion programs, but then not supporting them. They spread their resources thin across many, many schools across the entire district. What would be a better strategy is to give immersion programs homes in specific schools so that then those schools can focus on those languages and focus on building a very strong program that people are attracted to.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Why can't we get this?
Thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate your time. Cynthia Cow, are you on the line? Cynthia K, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. Cynthia K.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Please go ahead.
Okay, good morning. My name is Cynthia Cow. I'm a parent at Broadway Elementary. I'm asking today that the board address important leadership concerns at the Office of the General Counsel. The General Counsel's primary duty is to protect LAOSD and ensure compliance. Yet under current leadership, this office has not only failed to prevent legal challenges, it's actively created them. First, constitutional violations. OGC promulgated a social media policy so blatantly unconstitutional that the ACLU wrote directly to the General Counsel demanding corrections. This isn't protecting the district, it's inviting costly litigation and negative press. Second, educational neglect. OGC has failed to respond to or even acknowledge Williams complaints filed over a month ago by parents at Broadway Elementary and Mark Twain Middle School regarding deficient Mandarin immersion curriculum. The OGC's silence reveals an office disconnected from students' fundamental educational rights and its responsibilities to correct for them. Third, transparency failures. Numerous public records act requests go unanswered or deliberately delayed for months, even years. This creates an adversarial environment, eroding public trust and forcing everyone into litigation just to access basic information. The financial cost is staggering. Every preventable lawsuit, every delayed PR response that escalates litigation, every settlement for proactively manageable issues directly drains classroom resources. We're spending taxpayer money defending legal battles that the OGC itself has created. This office is charged with ensuring equity, yet how can it do so when its actions create inequity by siphoning funds from children toward legal fees and outside counsel? I ask this board to investigate what is happening at the Office of General Counsel. Our students deserve leadership that protects resources for education, not squanders them on avoidable legal battles. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Karina Lopez is signed up to speak remotely, but I don't have her signed in. Is Karina Lopez in the room? No. Marcela Garcia, are you in the room? You're signed up to speak remotely, but you are also not signed in at the time. No, Marcela. And then we have concerned parent signed up to speak remotely. I do see concerned parents, but I do not see someone identified as concerned parent in the room. So now I'll return to Anya Mexon. Anya Mexon, please press *6 to unmute yourself, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak once you begin. We're returning to you, Ms. Mexon, Anna Mexon. Anya. Okay, unfortunately, we have to move on. Ms. Mexon hasn't pushed the unmute button. So this concludes the general public comment. The board is now going to recess into closed session. The time is 10:51 a.m. Thank you, everyone. I'll be back to report out the items when they are done. I assume you're all here for public comment? Okay, welcome back. The time is now 4:04 p.m. on September 17th. We are now going to report out on actions taken at the closed session. I will take roll. Ms. Newbell.
Present.
Dr. Rivas.
Present.
Mr. Melvoin.
Here.
Ms. Griego.
Here.
Ms. Gomez. Ms. Franklin. And Board President Schmerlson.
Present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Okay, reporting out language. For tab 1, student disciplines, the Board of Education approved the expulsion of students in case numbers 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10 with the recommended dispositions. The Board of Education denied the enrollment of students in case numbers 001A, 002A, and 004A with the recommended dispositions. The vote in both matters, all those matters, is 7 ayes. The Board of Education approved the conditional enrollment of the student in case number 005A with a recommended disposition. The vote was 6 ayes with 1 no. Mr. Schmerlson. The Board of Education approved the conditional enrollment of the student in case number 003A with a recommended disposition. The vote was 7 ayes. Under tab 3, conference with legal counsel, the Board of Education authorized a settlement in the case of Bautista v. LAUSD. The vote was 6 ayes, 1 absent. Ms. Gomez. The Board of Education authorized a settlement in the case of Milton v. LAUSD. The vote was 7 ayes. And the Board of Education authorized a settlement in the case of Jane Doe v. LAUSD. The vote was 6 ayes and 1 absent. Ms. Gomez. And then under tab 2, public employee discipline, dismissal, and release, the Board of Education authorized the dismissal of 2 certificated employees. The vote was 7 ayes. Under tab 2, personnel, public employment, the Board of Education voted to reappoint Alberto Carvalho as Superintendent of Schools for 4 years with term ending February 13th, 2030. Terms and conditions. Will be disclosed upon finalization and prior to ratification of the contract in open session on October 14th, 2025. The vote was unanimous. That is all I have to report out.
Well, may I, Mr. President? You may. Just a couple of brief comments, even though our board secretariat just mentioned that terms and conditions would be announced in the future. I want to be very clear. I think there are many people in the room right here, right now, and many more across the 1,000 schools in our great district. Principals, teachers, support staff, individuals of many ranks and many responsibilities who show up every single day, not for the paycheck, but out of devotion for this noble cause that we call public education. So I want to be very clear with this board and this community that there's nothing to negotiate. I'm not seeking, nor will I accept, a salary increase as part of my compensation or additional benefits. My contract is what my contract is, and the most important contract I have is with the beautiful community of Los Angeles, our staff, our students, and our families. There is hardship in the future, and the best way to lead is to lead from the front with full awareness of the sacrifice that lies ahead and the contribution that each one of us can individually make. This is my journey, and I want to thank the board for your trust, your confidence, and for your valor and courage in doing right by our community through the service that we collectively provide. Thank you very much.
If there are no objections, the meeting can adjourn. It can adjourn. Okay, no objections. The time is now 4:08.